Today on the podcast, we have the Rhode Island chapter of the AFSP, the Suicide Prevention Organization.
I assume we're talking about our walk.
Yes, we are talking about our walk. So I know that we have a team, and to let people know how else they can join a team, or if they don't want to join a team, how they can be involved. We have Keely Taylor going to join us. She's the board chair of the AFSP Rhode Island.
Nice. It's a great organization. If you can support it, you should.
You should. So without further ado, joining us today on Totally Preventable, we have Keely Taylor, the board chair of the Rhode Island chapter of AFSP. How are you doing today, Keely?
I'm doing very well, thank you. How are you?
Doing pretty good. Thanks. Thank you for asking. We're going to start off like we always do. Will you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got to where you are today?
Certainly. My name is Keely, obviously, and I am a lifelong Rhode Islander. I'm from Pawtucket. I am the current board chair for the Rhode Island chapter of the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. I got involved with AFSP a couple of years ago by doing one of their walks because I am a suicide loss survivor. I lost my husband in 2021, my husband Nate.
Sorry to hear that.
Sharing.
So it's a cause that I'm very passionate about.
So about the walks, can you tell us about the
Yeah, absolutely. We've got our community walks at AFSP is a really great way to get people connected. And that can be connected with other survivors or other people who are struggling or other people who are supporting those who are struggling. It's just a great way to get the community together and show everybody that they're not alone.
We have had a team, I guess, of sorts for the last 2-3 years. Greg, do you know? Maybe 3.
3 years. 3 years.
3 years, yeah. And it really is a terrific event. There are resources for people. There's a lot to talk to, and there's a lot of sharing. It brings, I think, a lot of hope. It's a really great event. Can you share any information about this year's walk and what people can expect if they come?
Absolutely. We have 2 community walks coming up. The first will be on October 5th, and that's at Roger Williams Park in Providence. And then the second is October 19th, and that's at Salve Regina University in Newport. Both walks will have the opportunity, obviously, to get the community together. We'll have partners who have resource tables there to share. We also always kind of have these healing activities, including an honor bead ceremony. And the honor bead ceremony, everybody who attends the walk will wear colored beads to show how they're connected to the community. Everybody wears blue to show that they're in support of suicide prevention. And then everybody wears different colors to show how they're connected to the cause. We have a color that reflects if you've experienced a personal struggle, if you are supporting someone. I wear red for the loss of a spouse. There's white for the loss of a child, colors for losing your parents, your siblings. And it just allows you to kind of see in a quick glance that you aren't alone, that somebody else has experienced what you've experienced. And it hopefully opens the door for you to be able to talk more about it, which is the way things get better, that we talk about it.
Right. In your opinion, why should people attend? A lot of times you hear things like, "Oh, I don't know anyone," or "Oh, this doesn't pertain to me." In your opinion, why do you think people should attend the walks?
So connection is a big word for me, and a big word that I'm bringing to the Rhode Island chapter because I believe that connection is something that helps prevent suicide. It helps prevent that loss, that feeling of isolation and loneliness, being connected to someone, being a part of a community. And that community can be whatever is personal to you and your situation. It could be your family, it could be your workplace, even it could be a local community group. But for those who may be struggling to find that community and that connection, this event is a way to connect immediately with a group of people who have some idea of what you may be experiencing, whether that was a loss or whether that is that you are struggling. So it can just be a healing property to be around other people who you know aren't going to say something inappropriate or not want to engage with you. And I think that is a healing property, being connected. So that is something I bring to the chapter and talk about all the time, because not only do we as a human species, I think, need to feel connected in order to feel healthy and in order to grow, but I think we as a chapter and people who are interested in helping everybody needs to connect to other programs and other partnerships and other groups and other shows to make sure that we're all sharing and we're all connected and all communicating.
And while you were telling us about the Roger Williams walk, I had completely forgot that there were other walks besides Salve. We do Salve, so I'm focused into Salve. um, but the AFSP is a national organization as well. So if people are listening from somewhere else and they'd like to jump in on a walk in another part of the country, that's possible too, correct?
Absolutely. And AFSP is a national organization. It's a volunteer health organization, so it is almost entirely volunteer run. And we do have chapters in all 50 states. So there, if you're not local to Rhode Island, there very likely is a walk that's close to you, and you can go to AFSP's website at afsp.org. And look for your local chapter. And in Rhode Island, there are also other events that we try to hold throughout the year, because the walk season, of course, September being Suicide Prevention Month, this is definitely a time where there's a focus on mental health and suicide, but we do want to try to keep that connection year round. So we have campus walks in the spring so that we can connect with the young people and the college students who are definitely at risk. We have a Pause for Prevention walk that comes up in May, Mental Health Month, and to really help connect with the veterinarian community. We also are hoping to have a couple of other events throughout the year for fundraising and community walks. But we also in November have the International Survivors of Suicide Loss Day, where it really is a day for survivors to get together and heal. We have licensed clinical workers there, health workers there to kind of help facilitate communication and conversation around the topic.
Now, for people with bellies like mine who hear the word walk and then get nervous, what other ways can people participate?
Just come to the day, and there will be healing activities for those who perhaps can't walk. We definitely have a few folks who, for whatever reason, health-wise or other, are unable to complete the walk. But it is just a day of healing, just to get people together at that community. Again, we've got the honor bead ceremony, but we also have a program of speakers, as well as healing activities that can happen while other people are walking. So we usually have an activity there that people can write a message about their loved one or to other people, or some other activity to show as a way to focus that energy, focus that grief sometimes that you're feeling.
And do I have to be on a team, or can I just show up individually? Or
you can walk individually, or you could be on a team. We always have a chapter team if individuals do want to come and do want to be part of a team. But you can register individually, and it is free to register. We hope that folks fundraise, because fundraising is how we are able to offer all of the programs that AFSP offers for free throughout the year. So, that fundraising is really important for us to continue to do the work that we would like to do.
I'd like to add that I have done the walk, and I think it's only like 2 miles. It is not a tough walk. So if you're thinking about it but hesitant, because you heard the word walk, it is mostly great. There is this one tiny little spot at the end, and I think last year they found a way to have you scoot around it instead of going down. It was this tiny little hill. So don't let the word walk, dissuade you.
Absolutely.
If someone can't come out though, and they'd like to either donate or I mean, I guess donate. I was gonna say, why would you sponsor a team if you didn't have a team?
You
But
could, yeah.
you could, yeah.
You
What are some
could.
what are some ways people could give?
Yeah, there. If you go to the walk page, you can certainly find a team and donate directly to a team. You can donate to an individual. You can contact the Rhode Island chapter, and there are certainly other ways that you can get involved
Mhm.
and become part of the community. And that's really what we're trying to encourage. We need the fundraising because it helps us do what we do, but the connection and the community are how we're going to do it. So. Um, we encourage anybody to reach out and become connected and find an area of the organization that speaks to you as far as being involved.
And while it is the event is for sad reasons, I've got to say it is, when I leave, I always feel better than when I showed up. Like I always feel like there was a lot of healing going on, and that everyone is better for participating.
Yeah, we do certainly want the day to feel like a day full of hope.
Hmm.
And it is a tough topic to talk about, but the only way things get better is if we talk about it.
Hmm.
Um, you know, Suicide is a totally preventable health crisis. That the way we can further educate people is to grow our community and be able to have our educational programs and connection with survivors, along with research and advocacy, which are the two other areas for the focus on AFSP.
Now, the buzzword fundraising always brings up or perks up the ears. And the big question is always, where's the money go? So can you tell us about some of the programs that AFSP offers?
Absolutely. AFSP is actually one of the largest funders for research regarding suicide and suicide prevention. So that is where a lot of the funds go. AFSP was started by a group of survivors who started funding research because there was no research being done, and they wanted to know. So research is certainly a big area that gets fundraising. Educational programs are another way we use these funds to go to workplaces, community centers, churches, schools, and educate everybody on suicide prevention, the warning signs for suicide, get the conversation really going. Advocacy is another area that we do work in. So, advocating for smart mental health legislation on the local and the federal level. And then support for suicide survivors. We have a couple of programs, one called Healing Conversations, where you can get connected with a trained loss survivor who can connect with you on that level that's really important when you're beginning your healing journey, as well as the International Survivors of Suicide Loss Day coming up in November, which happens the weekend before Thanksgiving, so November 23rd this year. And that is because the holidays are a really tough time when it comes to grief and loss. So we want to make sure that our community is set up for success.
No, I was going to say, unless it was sheer coincidence, can you explain? You have hope on your shirt. Can you just
I
explain
do.
a little
Yeah.
about the design and
So I have a team that is doing the walk in honor and memory of my husband, Nate. And uh, so the team is called Team Taylor. If you would like to donate to my team, you can find me. But one of the things that you can do to raise funds is sell T-shirts. So I worked with Nate's sister, Laura. She's a graphic designer. I do not do design, but I had a vision for this shirt in particular, using the Rhode Island anchor logo, and obviously Rhode Island's motto is hope, which is perfect, but incorporating the AFSP logo that they use, hope, as well. So I described my vision to her, and she was able to help me mock up these T-shirts that I also sell to help fundraise for my team for the walk.
Oh, those designers, they're so good.
We need them. We need them because otherwise it's clip art and it's not going anywhere.
I hear you. I hear you.
You mentioned education earlier. Do you offer education for adults and youth?
Yes, we AFSP has several programs, not only just for adults and youth. So the adult program we in generally offers called Talk Saves Lives, and that is a 60-minute educational program that talks about the facts around suicide and mental health, as well as warning signs and what to do if you are struggling, or if you know somebody who's struggling. And at this point, I should definitely plug the 988 mental health crisis line, which is, again, not just for people who are struggling and at a moment of crisis, but anybody who is concerned about anybody who's struggling or trying to support someone who's struggling. If you are concerned, call 988. They will help you figure out what to do and help you connect resources that can really make a difference. So
Yep.
Talk Saves Lives is AFSP's primary program. We do offer several versions of that for different at-risk communities as well. So we have a version of it specifically for the Latinx community that uses language and more culturally appropriate ways of communicating these efforts. We have we can tailor it for Pride for the LGBTQ community. We can tailor for the African American community. Those programs exist and are based in research so that they can be their most effective. And then we also have some youth programs. It's Real, which is for middle school and their parents to help communicate with them. And then we also have Seize the Awkward, which is the teenage the awkward teenage years, where just helping them understand and be able to talk to their friends about what's troubling them and feel more confident in reaching out if they're concerned.
Are these trainings or whatever we're calling them, are they for in school, or are they more of a community based, or are they like a one-on-one online kind of thing?
They are community based.
Okay.
We are working with the schools to be able to offer in school where appropriate. And there are several other programs that kind of overlap that. So we're just making sure we're working through the right programs to reach the right audiences.
Super.
But beyond that, if you want to bring an educational program to your workplace, to your community, to your church, wherever, you can reach out to the Rhode Island chapter, and we would love to work with you to bring this educational program wherever it needs to go.
Thank you.
Upon your getting involved with AFSP, was there anything that you learned about suicide prevention that you didn't know before? Like, what was your biggest takeaway now that you've been involved with AFSP?
I think, like a lot of people, I was concerned that talking about it made it worse. So that, I think, was the biggest thing I learned. And while there are so many things I wish I knew, and always will wish that I knew at the time, just knowing that we should be talking about it, and we should be asking directly, are you thinking about suicide? Because I think a lot of people are afraid to ask that, and then not knowing what to do with that information, not knowing where to go for resources. Besides the 988 hotline, we do in Rhode Island have BH Link, which is our kind of local mental health crisis center, which is an actual physical location that you can go and get help and get connected to the right resources. And BH Link has a direct line as well, but they do run the call center for 988. So chances are you're getting connected with them when you dial 988 as well.
We also have in Newport County, and I think Bristol County, the Rio van and Rhode Island Outreach. And they will come right to you if you need them.
Yeah.
So that's a nice option if you can't get somewhere or get someone somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, removing those barriers to getting connected with the right resources is really important, because the resources will only help if people can get to them.
Right.
Is AFSP noticing any, I'll narrow it down, AFSPRI. Are they noticing any trends along any vulnerable populations?
I think research-wise, AFSP probably has a lot of data on that. I am sure that I don't want to misspeak about those statistics.
Understood.
But I think there's a lot of high risk communities out there that would not be a surprise to anybody who works in mental health, or just is talking about this topic. The marginalized communities. When I talk about wanting people to feel connected, feeling like you can't be your authentic self is part of that conversation. So, LGBTQ community, certainly there are barriers to them feeling like they can be their authentic self. So they are high risk. We talk about those who have high risk jobs, EMTs, emergency services. They are obviously also at high risk. But any marginalized community has the unfortunate risk of being at risk for mental health crisis or suicide.
We talk about connection when it comes to recovery. So it's important to have a connection. So it's interesting how important connection is in all aspects of your life. It's important to have people you can talk to and connect with in all
and feel
aspects.
safe with. Yeah. I think that's how I've come to view it.
Yeah, it's a good way to look at it.
Yeah.
Now, forgive me for jumping, but people who watch our podcast know I jump from one spot to another.
Sure.
So, but as we approach the walk dates, is there a last day to register? Is it too late to register? Is there a closing date?
You can show up the day of the walk, and we will help you out. So there is no last day to register. Even after the walk, we will continue to fundraise and stay connected. So we're hoping to achieve our goals this year. So it's helpful if people do register and fundraise before the walk, but we'll take you however you get to us so that you can stay connected.
And companies or organizations, businesses, they could still contribute, sponsor, donate.
Absolutely.
Right.
I happen to be our team captain, and I should relinquish my title because I have the worst time connecting everybody to our team. I think I'm gonna push it over to someone because Carrie said to someone else here, "Hey, I thought you guys were gonna have a team." I said, "I thought we had a team." Whoops.
Oh, yeah. It's never too late.
Nope,
it's never too
we
late.
do. After Carrie said that, I went in and I made sure we had a team.
Yeah, and staying connected with your team again. There are other ways to fundraise. I'm selling the T-shirts, which is through the AFSP fundraising app, Donor Drive. They allow you to. There's a whole bonfire system where you can create and sell shirts. But we've got teams that do bingo fundraisers, yoga fundraisers. I held a trivia fundraiser in August because my husband, Nate, was a fan of trivia and was a very knowledgeable person who had random bits of useless knowledge that are only good for trivia. So I have the trivia fundraiser. So there are lots of different ways to fundraise with your team that is more, maybe more than just asking for a donation, which some people may be uncomfortable with.
Mhm.
So for those burning to get into the walks or looking to donate, once again, please give us the dates and how can people sign up?
You can register for the walks at AFSP's website, and you can get to the Rhode Island page, which is probably a little easier to find the Rhode Island walks by going to afsp.org/Rhode Island, all one word. That'll take you to the Rhode Island page. And under events, you can find the walks. We have the Northern Rhode Island Walk coming up on October 5th at Roger Williams Park in Providence. And then we have the Southern Rhode Island Walk coming up on October 19th at Salve Regina University in Newport. Right on the cliff walk there. It's lovely.
It is lovely.
It is.
The Roger Williams Park walk is also lovely. Just not on the cliff walk overlooking the ocean. It's tough to beat.
We're a little biased over here on the Salve side. So.
I can imagine.
Thank you so much, Keely. We hope to see you on at Salve on the you just said it, but
19th.
19th. Thank you.
Yes.
Look for us. I'll look for
I
you.
will.
I tend to not recognize people where I didn't originally meet them, but we look forward to the walk, and we look forward to seeing tons of allies and friends and supporters there.
Absolutely. I'll be there at the walk, and I'll likely be wearing this shirt. So you can just look for, although I may have other team members who are also wearing this shirt, but you can look for the shirt and ask, and generally one of them will be able to connect us. And I hope we do stay connected.
We will.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Bye.